high Zeus rig. We'll have a field of 19 here in heat number 1. That is because in lane number 4, Michelle Fumagalli has withdrawn from the competition after her crash in event number 1. Also here on this first page of athletes will be 10-time Open Division qualifier, 12th place in event number 1, Rebecca Voigt in lane number 8. On our second page, Bethany Shadburn in lane number 19, 4th place in event number 1. We also have a past champion in the field from 2014, Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet.
29-year-old gymnastics specialist, absolutely crushes events where she's got to do pull-ups or handstand walks or even muscle-ups. But she had shoulder surgery recently, so it'll be interesting to see how she does here.
Only past champ in this heat. The only alternate in this entire field is Meredith Root, who got here after a post-regional disqualification. She's doing well for herself right now in 17th with a second life.
As a CrossFit Games rookie, we know from previous experience in different competitive events, she doesn't mind the length of the strap, so it shouldn't be too big of a problem for her.
We've got the wide shot of this North Park field on the left. We're going to keep an eye on some individual athletes on the smaller screen on the right, as we're seeing some of these athletes right out of the gate struggling to get their composure on these swinging rings early on from the Zeus rig. Jen Smith starting to get her control a moment ago. Here's Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet, who, this is not a surprise, looking very smooth early.
Looking very smooth for sure. She's got a really nice swing with the kip. She opens up the shoulders, swings the feet through, turns the shoulders over at the top, and pops herself out of that dip without a problem.
And the 2014 champ is leading the way, as you'll notice her name on the top of the screen highlighted in blue with the rep number 12 next to it. Everybody else will be highlighted in red with the minus number indicating how many reps they are behind the lead. So LeBlanc-Bazinet at the halfway point. Meredith Root just 2 reps behind her as she goes 13 unbroken to start. Again, we're working towards rep number 30, already at the halfway point, 1 minute in.
And Brandon, one of the things that we talked about in leading up to this event was the planning and the strategy that goes into it. You need to know your own limitations. You don't want to get to that failure point because the cycle time gets slower and slower. So I think what we're seeing is some of the athletes drop off before they hit failure.
Continues to be Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet, who is now through rep number 20 with that lockout. It was 15 unbroken on the first set. She's going to keep going, but that pace is slowing, and it's opening the window for Madeline Sturt, who's moving into the second position. Also see Brista Mayfield to the right side of the screen working through.
And one of the challenges, Brandon, at the very top of the extension, they have to extend their elbows as hard as possible just to make sure that they get full extension and credit for that rep.
Madeline Sturt on the far left side of the screen into the second position, tied with LeBlanc-Bazinet. Tennille Burline is on the right side. Actually, that would be Meredith Root right there on the right side, also in the top 4. As Tennille Burline has made her way into the picture as well. Camille coming down, all 3 of your leaders coming down off the rings, 7 reps remaining. Here is Tennille Burline, last year's most improved and top American finisher in the field. 6 reps remain for the leaders, which is now once again Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet. Burline back on the rings, 1 rep behind. It's LeBlanc-Bazinet on the left, Burline on the right. Sturt and Root also trying to hold on. As LeBlanc-Bazinet struggling to get the lockout, she will get it and have 4 reps remaining.
And you can see at the very top of her lockout, she had to bring the knees up toward the chest and kip just a little bit to get full extension.
Madeline Sturt now draws level with Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet. She's taking a break. LeBlanc-Bazinet back up onto the ring. She's through 1 of her final 4, now 2 of her final 4. Sturt back up. Can she hang on for all 4? It might give her her first ever heat win. She's trying to hold on as Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet came down. It's 1 rep remaining for Madeline Sturt, but she's going to be just not enough to catch Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet, who's in at 3 minutes, 8.76 seconds to set the time to beat. Madeline Sturt in at 3:13. Chloe Gavin-David appears to be our next finisher, and she is at 3 minutes and 19 seconds. Check in on Becca Voigt, who is 9th here in the heat, making her record tying with Ben Smith. Both of them still active this year. 10th appearance in the Open Division at the Games. Meredith Root crossing the red line there on the field at 3 minutes and 41.53 seconds. Not bad for not even being officially here about 2 weeks ago. 17th in event 1 and 4th thus far in event number 2 as Tennille Burline rounds out our heat's top 5. Becca Voigt in 6th. Good race for 7th. We'll go to Ake Gylfadottir at 4 minutes and 13 seconds. We have 40 seconds remaining to complete these 30 reps. And amazingly enough, you brought up the 2002 main side version. The time cap then was 30 minutes.
30 minutes, and it was followed by a full-page description of how to do a muscle-up.
So we have 7 athletes remaining. Farthest through this thus far of those 7 is Danny Horan with 2 reps remaining. There's Jennifer Smith a moment ago. Horan crossing the line. Smith will be next. So we got our final 5 seconds. And I don't believe anybody else will beat the time cap. Shadburn dropped down off the rings, but she didn't complete the event as crossing the line is considered a rep, so she'll get a time cap designation. But we had 14 of the 19 athletes here in heat number 1 able to beat the 5-minute time cap, and it was nearly under the 3-minute mark for your event leader, Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet, at 3:08.
Camille came out to a strong start. We knew she would. She knocked out 16 or 17 reps before dropping off the rings, but every single rep looked really, really smooth. She had a plan going into this event for sure. And then what we noticed was Burline made a charge in the middle of the event and pushed really hard going into the 22 to 24 rep range, but struggled toward the tail end of the event. And at the very end, it was Sturt and CLB racing for that final rep, and CLB was able to take the lead with a couple seconds left.
Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet in position for potentially her 4th career event win and her 91st career event as she leads the way 3:08.76 seconds, about 4 seconds quicker than 21-year-old Madeline Sturt, who might have 2 of her 3 best career finishes coming back-to-back events to start the weekend. Chloe Galvin-David rounding out the top 3 as we have 1 heat remaining coming up next.
The test continues, and the script has flipped. Events number 2 of the 2018 Reebok CrossFit Games. It's all about gymnastics. 30 muscle-ups, 4 time. Thanks for being with us today, everybody. I'm Sean Woodland alongside 2009 CrossFit Games champion Tanya Wagner. Mike Arsenault is on the field covering the competition. We were on bikes this morning. We're on rings right now.
A little more familiar territory for these ladies. They're going to do 30 muscle-ups a time per time. It is a classic CrossFit benchmark. Once you get your muscle-ups, then there's some benchmarks along the way. 30 muscle-ups is one of them. They will have a 5-minute time cap.
Mike Arsenault is on the competition floor with more.
Thanks, Sean. There's a wrinkle to this CrossFit benchmark, the length of the strap. So the rings are 8 feet above the ground, 10 feet above that. That's where the straps are affixed to Zeus. So 18 feet in the air, and that 10 foot of difference, that's going to make it difficult for the athletes to control their lockout at the top. And we have a bit of a breeze here on the competition floor, so you can see the rings are starting to move, and if they fail or they come down, the rings will be swaying. So I have to jump up to reach that 8 foot ring and then deal with the 10 foot length from the rings to the strap as they lock out.
Not only that lockout, but when those rings are swinging, every time you come down, you have to eyeball them both up to get that jump, and we saw that be a factor for the first heat.
20 women in the second and final heat of event number 2. And keep an eye on the middle of the floor. That's where last year's top finishers will be. Tia Toomey in lane 10, the defending champion. Right next to her, a woman on the podium last year, and a former two-time champion, Annie Thorisdottir, Katrin Davidsdottir, and Cara Saunders in that group as well. And then the rookie, Laura Horvath, will be in lane 13. But there are some women who have been waiting to get to this event because it's in their wheelhouse.
The home run event for some of these ladies like Emily Bridgers is going to be the muscle up event. This is where she can really go out with a bang. This is her 5th consecutive CrossFit Games. She announced to everyone it will be her final games, so she wants to have a couple memorable events. This could be one of them. And Jamie Green, the first place finisher out of the Meridian Regional, first made a name for herself last year during the muscle up event on Friday night with Amanda 45, and that was on a bum shoulder. She had some surgery and is coming in with a stronger shoulder, so surgery worked well for Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet in the earlier heat. We'll see if it does the same for Jamie Green.
Keep your eye on the top of the screen. The leader's name in the heat will be highlighted in a blue box. The number of repetitions that woman has completed will be in the white box. All the women who have their names listed in red, the number in the white box will indicate either how many reps they have completed or how many reps behind they are of the leader. Right now it's Jamie Green battling Chrissy Ermo and Emily Bridges, Tia Toomey, all through 9, now 10 of those muscle-ups, and Katrin Davidsdottir in the middle of your screen has hopped off. She's breaking early here.
The name of the game for this is all about your strategy and your pacing and not getting too ahead of yourself and getting too overconfident early. It can be, the difference between taking first and taking 5th. A lot of people can squeak in it once you start to fail at muscle-ups. So the biggest thing to do is keep your speed through the reps. So if one rep is about 3 seconds, as soon as you start to slow that down and it takes you the extra second to lock out, you need to come down and shake it out.
Tia Toomey right now is your leader. She's through 20 and taking her first break. Emily Bridgers was right behind her, but now Christy Ermo and Cara Saunders have passed her for second place. The time to beat in the upper left-hand portion of your screen. Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet, the 2014 fittest woman on earth, did that in the first heat. 3 minutes, 8.76 seconds. And Toomey on the right, who was and still is your leader, as Emily Bridgers is now tied her, taking a long break here. Christy Ermo in the middle of your screen, number 32, is now creeping up, and Cara Saunders, who is now in the lead as well.
For Cara Saunders, that's huge because she had a 22nd place finish on that bike event, and she needs to dig herself out of that hole. She needs some real big wins here the rest of the day.
Tia Toomey now back in the lead. Chrissy Ermo 1 rep back. Jamie Green is in third, followed by Bridgers and now Saunders. So it is neck and neck for second place as Toomey hanging on to a slight lead, now tied with Chrissy Ermo as Cara Saunders takes another break. Tia Toomey back on the rings with 4 to go. Tia Toomey looking to lock up an event win as she is well ahead of Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet's pace. Toomey with 1 to go. She will lock it out, and the 2017 fittest woman on earth will get beaten out by Christy Ermo on the far side of the field, but a solid finish for Tia Toomey here in event 2.
She held on for that big set. Ermo was just quick off the rings and really made a quick sprint to the finish.
Cassidy Lance McWhirter is now your leader on the field. Brooke Wells on the bottom right, waiting for the rings to settle before she gets back up there. Sarah Sigmundsdottir in the blue at the top of your screen. She's trying to make up some ground. She's another woman who had a poor performance in the opening event. She finished 21st in the criterium. Laurel Horvath has finished. Cassie Lance McWhirter is in. Carrie Pierce and Cara Saunders all within about 10 seconds of each other. So Saunders Right now, that's good enough for 8th place in the event. So a good top 10 finish for Cara Saunders as she looks to work her way up the leaderboard. Only 2 events done today. That's only halfway, so 2 more events today on what is the busiest opening day and the toughest opening day in CrossFit Games history.
It was the busiest day. It's going to be, there's just so much more work ahead of these ladies. And, you know, this event versus the next one, a high gymnastics skilled event right here, going into a heavy lifts. This is surprising.
Sarah Sigmundsdottir edging out Katrin Davidsdottir. As Sigmundsdottir takes 10th in the heat, Davidsdottir will take 11th. That will be good for 14th and 15th respectively in the event. Approaching the 5-minute time cap is now Alessandra Pacelli, your leader, still on the field. She's number 33. She was on the right of your screen. On the right side of your screen now, Amanda Barnhart is in the middle. She is a rookie, as is E. Schurz, who's in the bottom left.
As the fatigue is set in now, these ladies really need to get a big kick, generate that momentum, that upward momentum with their hips to get themselves up over the rings.
Now Pacelli is in with about 10 seconds to spare before we hit that 5-minute time cap. Christy Aramo is your event winner, 2 minutes 32.52 seconds. It's the first event win of her career.
Super exciting. That's always fun. And you know, she's our endurance athlete. She's the one we look for knowing her tempo and her pacing. Well, she knew her pacing on this event. Bridgers was out to a strong start, held on for a solid 15, or held on for a first big set, while Toomey was the one who held on for a set of 20. They were neck and neck there for the first set. That's why we were not paying attention to the athletes that were breaking the smaller sets. These were your leaders. They fatigued a little bit sooner, slowed down just a bit, but it was just a little foot race. Once Aramo finished up her final rep, she came right down and raced that finish line and proved that her pacing strategy was right on.
Toomey and Aramo had a foot race and run, swim, run last year. Toomey gets the best of that one. Aramo repays the favor here and edges out Tia Toomey by 1 second, as Toomey will lock up second place in the event, and Christy Aramo gets the first win of her career. Laura Horvath, the rookie out of Hungary, continuing her impressive day one, another third place event finish.
For Laura, actually, Sean, that was a second place finish in the crit earlier, a third here, and oh my word, she's a rookie. This is really impressive. She's a strong athlete. I can't wait to see what she does coming up now in the CFT.
So second and a third, thank you, Tanya, and a very good chance that she is your overall leader. But right now, it's Christy Aramo who's celebrating an event win, and she is with Mike Arsenault.
Christy, this is your first 100-point victory at the CrossFit Games. Congratulations. Why was this such an effective event for you?
I love muscle-ups. It's been my favorite event all of CrossFit, and so when I saw high volume, I think from swimming, my shoulders can usually handle it, so I was super excited.
How much of an impact was the strop length? We had the rings 8 feet above the ground and then 10 feet from the rings to where the strap was affixed. Did that make a difference?
Absolutely. The long straps made it much harder to stabilize in the catch, so I think the dip got a little bit harder each time, but I don't think off the ground mattered that much.
So it did make a little bit difference as you try and push out the dip. So did you change your rep scheme based on how you felt on the floor?
I did. I broke my last set into 2 sets. It was supposed to be 1, but I thought it was possible I'd fail, so I broke it up.
You didn't fail. 100 points. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Christy Aramo with the event win, but welcome to the CrossFit Games, Rook. Laura Horvath is your overall leader through 2 events, and look who's right behind her, the defending champion, Tia Claire Toomey, as we are halfway through the opening day of competition here at the 2018 Reebok CrossFit Games. A lot of familiar names in the top 10, a lot of work